Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Chat.
Hey, y'all.
Blaze is number one, gets the gold star in the chat.
Yes.
She left the first comment, M.
That's all I'm drinking. I'm sorry. I don't have a coffee, so I was showing, and then I got caught up by the shininess of it all.
Wow. No, but Blaze says, hi, Neely and Lindsay. And then Jen says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are.
Indeed. Indubitably.
Yes. And Lainey is here from Western Australia.
Awesome.
In Western Australia. That's what I want to know. Is it?
I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Australia at some point in my life.
Me too. That's one I've never experienced.
Yeah.
Purple loving Nona is here from freezing Wisconsin. That's a lot different than Australia at this moment, I imagine.
Yeah, I would have to make that assumption as well.
Sing It is here. Howdy. Sing It always asks what we have in our cups, and you are showing your not coffee.
My not coffee. I've got some salty.
Excellent. What flavor?
Stoked
Stoked mango.
Stoked mango. Stoked mango.
Well, at least I'm having coffee, so we can still call this a coffee chat.
We can.
Coffee free. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Same number.
It's a good time.
Let's see. Mary is here. Good afternoon.
I'm gonna have to make an admonishment when we get to this one, but go ahead.
I see. Yes. Oh, I have to say hi to Deb. Wave to Deb from Oregon.
Now,
also Oregon. Yes.
Yeah.
2 a.m.
Hey, I'm gonna admonish you for this. Why are you up at 2 a.m.?
And I hope you have like a blue blocker on your screen.
Seriously. Oh, that sounds rough. R-U-F-F rough.
Straight Bro is here. Excellent. I haven't seen your name before.
No.
Haley is here. Hello from snowy Ohio. Carrie is here. A train full of toffee, a choo-choo train. Very cute. Very cute. 19 degrees and windy in upstate New York, Jen says. Yep. Here, amazingly, the sun is out. It hasn't been very rainy the last few days, but it's been a little frosty. But the sun has been out, so it's kind of beautiful.
My personal favorite is whenever it is sunny and snowy, because then the snow glitters from the sunlight. I love that.
That is pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. Lori says hi from Florida. Let's see. So I have been working on getting more morning sunlight. That's been like just outside. I've been learning a lot about the importance of light and the way that windows, even though there's light coming in, even the sun shining straight through, it filters some of the wavelengths. And so you're getting this light that you wouldn't normally experience in nature. And so that morning sunlight, especially right at sunrise, is so healthy. And so I've been getting Levi up right at sunrise. Right now is about 7:50 here in the morning. And so I've been getting Levi up because he's always asking me to go on adventure walks.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know, every walk should be an adventure walk. And so I'm like, that's my time for adventure walks with Levi. So we've been getting up every morning and going and just doing a loop around our property. We'll like go feed the chickens, get the goats out, and so the goats follow us, and we're like just walking through the forest with the herd behind us, and it's been so nice.
Yeah,
it's been so
that's
nice.
Awesome.
And one of the things that's making it nice is that it's not currently raining. I'm sure that as soon as the rain comes back, it'll be a struggle. But right now it's like we actually see the sun rise instead of just like overcast gloominess that just gets a slight bit brighter.
Right.
So
that's amazing. When the rain does come back, you have a waterproof suit built into your body called skin.
That is true. You know, that is true. So we don't have an excuse. Let's just say
No
that.
excuses. No excuses.
No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna stay committed to our adventure walks in the morning. It's been pretty great, and it's so fun to do it with him.
Oh, for sure. I feel like with boys, like they need as much adventure as possible.
Yes.
For as many days in a row as you can possibly do it.
Yes, and we found a frog the other morning, and Levi,
Always
got
a
it
good
home.
time.
So, I mean, talk about an adventure.
I mean, if you can find some critters, that makes the adventure like magnitude go way up. Way
100%.
up.
100%. Oh, Lori has sunny, windy, and 63 in Florida. That doesn't sound too bad.
It sounds like mid-range weather,
Yeah, which you don't like.
Not good at it. I'm not good at it at all.
Everybody else likes mid-range weather. You don't.
I know. But there are more extremists out there than really speak up. They just get admonished for it at all times. So they don't speak out the way I do. It is safe if you love the extreme weathers. You can come
have the trauma that they have to deal with.
That's right. That's right.
Sing It says chicken egg drop soup. That sounds good. Concoction I dreamed up to help along another stupid virus. Lame. 15.
Super lame.
Yeah, no fun. There have been so many sicknesses going around, and it's just like with all of our family friends, it's like there's just this revolving door of everyone's getting, and then they get over one, and then they have the next one.
Right.
Like, come on, I'm ready to be done with this. Like currently, right now, no one in the house is sick.
Well, praise God for it.
I mean, I probably shouldn't say those words out loud, but
yeah,
like we got to hold on to this.
Yeah.
But leave that in 2024. We're moving into 2025 without all this crud.
Leave your sickness at the door.
2025. Yeah, we're moving into 2025 with a stronger immune system.
That's right.
Yeah.
Claim it and claim it.
Suzanne is here listening while working in Utah. It has been windy and cold with snow frozen on the ground.
Listen, do y'all watch Ryan Hall, y'all?
I do not.
Enjoy watching him tremendously. And the video I just watched was from yesterday, and he was talking about how the state of Texas, especially like in north central Texas, they're gonna hopefully get some snow. They're gonna get precip no matter what they do, but the hope is for snow. And so I was texting my mom, and I was like, snow, that would be awesome. She's like, I know, the inner 7-year-old in me just is so desperate for snow. And I'm like, what? This 40-year-old woman is desperate for snow.
You have a very strong inner 7-year-old as well.
I do. It's actually all ages. All ages require the snow.
Very true. Mary says that her snow is glittering right now.
I love a good glittery
for
snow.
us. Yeah. And it's not Wednesday coffee chat in Western Australia. It's Thursday coffee chat. Mm-hmm. Early morning Thursday.
Bummer that your AC went out.
Well, at least we can keep company.
Hopefully.
That is the nice thing about having YouTube friends all over the world is there's always someone to keep you company.
It's true. It's facts.
All right. Well, snow in Texas. I don't know if I don't, keep up on what we're supposed to have or not here in Oregon.
Do you just wake up in the morning and look outside and say, yep, that's what it is, and then come back and
Yeah, the wind is blowing. There you go.
Perfect. You gotta love it.
Lisa's here also.
Hello, Lisa.
Getting ready to go to work.
Work all week long.
Yeah. Okay, well, we are in January. And in January for our coffee chats, we decided, and this was from Lindsey's brilliant mind, that we would try to be a little bit more organized with our topics on our coffee chats and have kind of a theme for the month.
Yeah.
So the theme for this month is about making a healthy lifestyle affordable, and not really any particular lifestyle, but it would include just general healthy living in the ways that most of our audience kind of agrees on: meat focused, whole foods, that kind of thing. And so we had a good chat last week about, just some ideas and tips to Uh, narrow things down in order to keep the budget in line. And
Right.
I kind of thought, like, I felt a little bit bad because it was a little bit depressing. My
Sure.
all of my advice was, you know, don't have as much fun. Fun costs money.
And then I followed it up with, you gotta sacrifice, which is
Yeah,
even less fun.
yeah. And I have a little bit more of a uh positive spin on it this
Ooh.
week. I've been thinking about it, but I want to send it over to you, Lindsay.
Oh
And
no.
what are you thinking about with regard to sacrifice? And what our thumbnail? Can you sacrifice? What are you thinking?
I think something that I currently experienced this past, few days was actually sacrificing feeling like I am always able to feel the fullest I possibly can, that feasting mentality, that feasting fullness, sacrificing that feasting fullness for being content. Um, I don't need to be, I don't need to feel like my stomach is stretched in order
Mm.
to know that I'm well nourished. And so I'm sacrificing the feeling of stuffed. And I think that's a good thing, honestly, because I do tend to eat more, and I do tend to make sure, or I try to always, if I feel a twinge of hunger, I'm like, I should probably eat now just to sort of head that off. And then I wind up just grazing, which is not ideal. So I'm sacrificing the stuffed feeling for, being a
Mm.
little bit more willing to say, I don't have to eat right now.
Mm.
And I think
Yeah.
that's hard in this feast. Like the season of feasting has come and now it is on hold. So it's not famine season, but it is mindful season, I guess.
Yeah. I have had the exact same mindset because
And we
it
didn't plan that.
and it kinda makes sense because we have just gone through the holiday season where it's a lot more natural to have treats, perpetually in the house, things that aren't a normal part of your life. And, different people have different ways of dealing with that. And some people feel a lot more comfortable just saying 100% no to all of it. Some
Sure.
people can do a good job of just moderating. And even I think even the people that do a good job of moderating, it can still get to the point of being too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the richness of the food where, especially if you're having treats that are carb and fat together, it's like,
Sure.
enough is enough. And so I've been in the same boat where it's like I'm not angry at myself or feel like I fell off the wagon or anything like that. Like I've really put that kind of a mindset behind me. I I love the idea of feast eating with family and friends and
Yeah.
celebration. Like I think that is a beautiful gift that we have as human beings.
Yes.
Now, people have their own unique struggles in being able to, moderate that. It's kind of like with alcohol. Sometimes it's fun to have a glass of wine with friends. Now, if I was an alcoholic, that fun would end real fast. And so like we have to have our own unique strategies and how to deal with these things. But
Sure.
in general, I think feast food with friends and family is a gift that I don't want to um just try to avoid
Yeah.
because of any negatives that could come from it. Um But at the same time, we live in America where we have feast food available around every corner 24 hours a day, literally 24 hours a day.
Yes.
And we have to work a little bit harder to um, not
Turn it
let
down.
the negatives that come along with the feasting
Yeah.
uh, like build up, I guess. So anyways,
Mhm.
I have definitely been in that same mindset where it's like, okay, it's time to pull things back just a little bit and be more mindful, not go on a 40-day fast or,
No.
PSMF every day or anything like that.
Right.
Like, I'm also really done with that kind of a mentality. Anything that's not sustainable long term, I'm just like, I don't even want to try. But yeah, let's just not have chocolate every single meal. And let's maybe throw a KetoChow in every once in a while instead
But
of
if you're having chocolate as Coco Loco, that's
that's
acceptable,
different.
right? Is that
That's
different?
totally different.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, I'll have a chocolate KetoChow every day. That's totally fine. Yeah. So anyways, definitely there with you on that one. But going back to like the budget side of it and the having to sacrifice when the budget is tight.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last week, it's a bummer. You can't just go out and buy all the new products that come out. You can't
Or
just,
even like things that you consider your staple products that
right.
you
Sometimes,
prefer to use.
right. And that kind of goes into a question. Where did it go? Okay, Sing It was asking, how do you feel about potted meat, lunch meat, hot dogs, and the cheap route? And do you want to take that first?
I personally love lunch meat.
You do?
I love it so very much. I think that it is totally fine. We have canned chicken in our basement, in our storage space that the girls will run down, snag, and make food out of. Like, I have no qualms with packaged meat as long as like the ingredient label is fairly short and I know what the things are that are in it. I mean, I'm not going around like buying, tins of Vienna sausages because those are not things that we prefer. But when I can find a good quality canned chicken or some, like hot dogs that are good or just lunch meat in general, like I'm perfectly good with that. I will say, as a total caveat, I have a meat slicer, and I find that buying the half ham or the whole like boneless ham and then slicing it for ourselves is more cost effective for us while also having a higher quality product for the girls. My girls would literally eat 2/3 of a ham, like like a 3 or 4 pound ham in one sitting without even batting an eye. And so that buying lunch meat by the pound at the deli, that's great. Buying, the prepackaged lunch meat, if you know what's going on with it, that's perfectly good too. My girls just eat a ton of it, so I try to get it in bulk and therefore at a lower price tag. But I do feel like that is a way to go, especially if your only alternatives are enriched flour, packaged processed foods.
Yeah. So my take on it is that I believe our bodies were designed to be able to handle less than perfection all of the
Yeah,
time.
that's
And like that's an overarching thing. Like, I think that's how human beings were designed. Now everyone has their own unique health struggles,
right.
and depending on where you're at, you might need to really focus on nutrition. Like, if you're really deficient in all kinds of nutrients, maybe you need to focus on, the foods that are going to give you those things.
Yeah.
But if in general your gut health is good, your nutritional status is good, you should be able to handle lunch meat, you know, multiple times a week and have no issue whatsoever. Like, you're still getting like the great protein from it, and there is nutrition in there as well.
I mean,
So
yeah. Even if it is, all of the discard parts, usually those are the parts that nowadays people are like, oh, I definitely want those discarded parts because gelatin or
yes,
whatever other vitamins and minerals happen to be hiding away in those parts of the animal.
yeah, yeah. So I would say, like, and this is how I feed my kids, is that because generally metabolically healthy at this point. They have great little metabolisms and no weight problems or blood sugar problems or anything like that. And so I make sure that they have a foundation of nutrition. So we do have our pasture raised eggs and our grass fed meat and some fresh milk and like this like bedrock of really healthy stuff where I'm confident that their nutritional needs are being met. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, like kids burn so many calories and
Yeah.
you really can meet nutritional needs with a smallish amount of calories and have room for all kinds of fun food that isn't necessarily what you want to base your whole diet on, but they do add value to your life for either convenience or for pleasure or different things like that. And so I would see like lunch meat kind of in between those because lunch
Yeah.
meat is still like a really solid source of protein. And like you were mentioning, gelatin and collagen, all that good stuff. Like there's a lot of good stuff in lunch meat. I wouldn't base my entire like that have be that the only meat that I eat ever. Probably. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but still, it's like you're probably
You would
missing a little.
live just fine.
But as long as you have your nutritional needs met, go for it. Like lunch meat
Yeah.
is great. And I mean, having some kind of a sandwich, whether you have it on egg bread or, sourdough bread or whatever, having a
Yes.
sandwich with lunch meat in it is a delicious thing. Like, I don't know, whoever, first started doing the lunch meat thing and doing the sandwich, like it's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
You can't beat it.
100%.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay. So, kind of going a little bit different of a direction. My positive spin on the restriction or the discipline or the sacrifice that maybe we choose to make depending on where we're at in our finances. I was just thinking about that and thinking how so many good things have come from being at a place where sacrifices needed to be made. And I've seen this in my own life and I can see it in general in the world. And one really good example when it comes to food, I think is soul food.
Okay.
Because
Like
because
collard greens.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So the classic thing with soul food is that it's typically the cheaper cuts of meat, the cheaper vegetables like collard greens made into the most delicious food imaginable. It's like techniques
Yeah.
to take like a brisket when if you just, cut a brisket steak and fry it up in a pan, it's
Ugh.
not going to be great. It's going to be terrible. But because that maybe was one of the few options available to a certain group of people, they figured out a way to make it like a coveted, really amazing meal.
Yeah.
And now it's like, we went to a soul food restaurant several years ago, and it was amazing. But it's almost like a high class restaurant
Yeah.
where people are like, trying to get in. And it's like just to think about the history of that, it's just so funny and so amazing that it started with people who didn't have as much, and they took what they did have, which would have been considered less, and they made it
More.
more.
More and much.
Yes. And so when you are at a place where you do have to pull back, maybe where you have to DIY more things,
Yeah.
and you can't rely on that convenience, yes, there is a, kind of a bummer about that. But at the same time, it opens up a lot of opportunity
It,
for self growth. I mean, think about, and I know you've experienced this, Lindsay, with all of our years being on a shoestring budget and
oh
figuring
gosh.
out how to make delicious food in spite of that, how to come up with our own baking blends, yeah, cooking from scratch. And so, and you develop those skills. And I can think if I had all the money in the world and was able to hire a personal chef, I wouldn't need to do that.
Right.
And so it's like just because you are at a place where um, you might have to pull back, like look at it as an opportunity. Maybe not the opportunity you wanted, but it is an opportunity to do something amazing. And I think of, I mean, this relates to every aspect of life, I think. I think about exercise and how much work we put into getting exercise and movement in our day and how hard that is. Whereas in so many other times in history and places in the world, even today, people get their 20,000 steps no problem every day, just doing the things that they have to do to survive, like going to the watering hole to bring their water back for the day or whatever. They're lifting heavy and
Yeah.
they're walking. And imagine like how much zone 2 cardio you would get if you were scrubbing your laundry every single day. Like,
Man, I've done that.
and it's like, so we can think that, oh, it's a bummer that my washing machine went out and I, don't have that convenience. Yes, I agree. I would be super bummed if I didn't have a washing machine. But we can also look at it as an opportunity to,
Work in fun
grow as a
habits.
person, get in that exercise, without try like exercise
Yeah.
when you are getting something done at the same time is always my favorite.
Oh, for sure.
I
Yeah.
think that's why step counters are so popular because you feel like you're getting something done by seeing that number go up. Whereas if you didn't see the number go up, it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I'm out weed whacking or mowing the lawn or, hauling something, it feels so much better than running on a treadmill. You're like, well, I ran on a treadmill. That's it.
I agree. I find it very challenging to like. It's one thing whenever I go to my friend's house and I work out. It's another thing whenever I'm in the garage space and I'm swinging my kettlebells and I'm doing my mini trampoline. But then I have a walking pad, and to get on the walking pad just feels like a mental block. Like I need to bring this in and be stirring something on the stove while I'm walking, but that's unsafe, so I won't do that. And then I can't like dust while I'm on the treadmill. I can't. I mean, I can
Mhm.
teach. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to build that into whenever I'm working on math with
That'd
the
be
girls. Like, here we go. All right, we're taking steps. We're making math happen. We're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I try to reframe, and that's what step counting is just such a funny thing. But it's like
It is.
when I'm focusing on getting my step goal, if I forget my, book downstairs and I'm like, I walk upstairs, I'm like, oh, I forgot it. I have to go back down to get it. Normally it'd be like, oh, that's stupid. What a waste. Stupid me. Then I'm like, no, no, no. I get to go down the flight of stairs again and then up the flight of stairs again. Think of how many steps that is. And it's like
Oh
just a
yeah.
way to reframe, and have a good attitude about whatever happens to be going on.
Absolutely. And I think that sacrifice is the opportunity to reframe. Like
Mm,
with the soul food, it's reframing what you have to make it
mhm,
amazing.
mhm.
The fact that I can easily put down 6 scrambled eggs and 6 pieces of bacon every day if I were, willing to do that, like that's not sacrifice, but saying, like, I have the opportunity to practice self control. Oh, reframe. Good job, Lindsay. You are in self control mode. You did it. You ate 3 eggs and 2 slices of bacon. You are capable. Look at you, strong girl. You
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah. And in my own life, like I've said this about my different recipes, whether they're keto or carnivore or whatever. I wouldn't have come up with them if I hadn't have been sacrificing
Right.
in order to, be doing a specific diet. It's like there's no way. And so like when I first started playing with egg white bread is when Jeff decided to sacrifice and eat a little bit lower carb. And it was that sacrifice that was the catalyst to, you know, finding something new and different and expanding my recipe world. It's just like,
Expands your knowledge of how ingredients work, and now all of a sudden you're a more skilled cook. You're capable of like substituting more things in an alternative way, or like, I know this ingredient didn't work in this application, but it could work in that application, and then I'm definitely not out any additional monies because I still have that ingredient to work with.
Yeah. Just wanted to say, sorry, Jen, to hear about your uncle, and what an interesting place to be in, to, have things changing like that and be the executor of the estate. And so,
Oh wow,
yeah, that's a lot, but
that's a lot.
yeah, hard work, but hopefully, in the end, it'll be rewarding working through all of.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Sing It says, it's amazing how much nutrition there probably is in potted meat because of the parts it comes from. Yeah, that's probably why that was not the best example to talk about with less healthy food, cheaper, because sometimes
Sure.
cheaper means
It's
less healthy.
perceived. It's perceived to be less healthy
Mhm.
because of it being so much less expensive.
Yeah. And then I think there's also like the nitrites and
Oh, sure.
like processed meat is kind of looked at as less
Negative.
healthy for,
Sure.
so there's all of that wrapped up in there. But as far as the nutrition coming from it, the protein, the collagen, all of that, I think it's a pretty healthy food.
Nitrites are like celery seed is one of the ingredients that are used as nitrites in order to help preserve. Is that true?
Yes, that's a naturally occurring, and I
Okay.
forget the difference between nitrates and nitrites. There is a difference, and I don't remember which one is.
That
But
that little
so
letter changes everything.
so when you buy something like a processed meat that says it's nitrate free, oftentimes they use celery seed or salt or powder, celery powder. I don't know, something with celery, and it makes naturally occurring nitrites. And so it's like, it's not really nitrite free. They can just say that because it's not like artificially
A
added.
chemically formulated compound from
And
like
then there's also the whole side of it, where people say, well, nitrites aren't actually that unhealthy unless you have a specific issue with them, and they're
sure.
naturally occurring. I forget what it was, but there's something that we eat normally, and it has just way more. I think it was a vegetable maybe that has way
Okay.
more nitrates than any like hot dog with added nitrates would give you. But we don't
Okay.
bat an eye about eating that. And
Right.
then you're like, "Oh, we have to have nitrate-free bacon." And you're like, "Really?"
I'm I do understand the desire to consume foods that are not created from a lab. I
Yes.
understand that
Yes.
that is a preferable selection
Yes.
over chemically altered things from a lab. But then I
Mhm.
also have that internal battle of every single thing that I can look at, see, or taste, touch, smell, they're all chemicals because it's all the, like elements that have been bonded together to create some, chemical substance. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's a very challenging thing. So I think we do get hung up on the minutia and then scrap everything because it's too hard. We make it harder for ourselves than it
True.
has to be. And I think we can practice a little bit of sacrificing perfection for what's typical, I guess.
Agreed. And I think also, I think a diet from whole foods, fresh foods is ideal, but you have to preserve things sometimes. And
Yes.
so to have a process by which you preserve meat or you preserve vegetables or something, then I see that as very valuable. Now,
Yeah.
maybe the nutrition comes down a little bit, like a carrot that's been canned versus a carrot that you just pulled fresh out of the garden. Sure. Maybe it goes down a little bit, but that doesn't mean that the canning process we shouldn't do.
Right.
That's another one of those things that's wrapped up in, we don't have to have everything perfect
Right.
unless our health status dictates that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
to go through a winter eating canned foods should be fine, as long as, when summer comes back around, we're eating all the fresh foods and filling up all of those nutrient stores. I think our bodies can handle that, eating seasonally that way.
Yeah.
So like with processed meats, yeah, I wouldn't want a diet where salami was my main meat source every day all year long.
But charcuterie.
But not every day all day long. We would get tired of it for one thing. We
What's
did get
the
tired of
reason?
it over Christmas. We had charcuterie and lots of leftovers. We did get tired of it after a while. And so like if you were to base your whole protein allotment on processed meats, you'd be missing something.
Agreed.
But to have it be part of your diet for nutrition and for enjoyment, I don't see anything wrong with that. Personally, myself. Let's see. Let's see. Sing It says, was walking away to get the rest of my soup and heard soul food. Yes. Ham hocks. Yes. Like,
Delicious.
yes. And, cook it up with those collard greens. It's delicious. Risa says, I get 90% of my exercise functionally at work. I carry a lot of heavy boxes. Yes. That's a great way to do it. And I love, being able to have the fitness tracker because it takes into account all of that. Because there have been times in my life where I've, had busier jobs, and then times in my life where I've been more sedentary, doing more homeschooling and nursing babies and stuff. And it, in both of those situations, you could have the same guilt of I'm not exercising because you're not doing like a set aside, specialized,
dedicated thing.
Session of exercise, but to have that more holistic perspective of, your whole day, it could be exercise or not, depending on what you're doing. And so to have the fitness trackers is just one of those things that, because we live in this modern lifestyle where it is easy to be sedentary all day, it's very helpful. In other times and other situations in history, people didn't have the option to just be sedentary all day unless they were the rulers of the area. Had servants. But it wouldn't have made as much sense in different times of history as it does now. So it is ridiculously easy to just sit all day long.
It truly is.
Not good. Let's see. Sing It says, I watched a YouTube about life in minus 71-degree weather. They are most certainly burning off all of that whole food they prepare from scratch. I need to up my cushy game. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Reese has got to go. Gonna catch the replay. One of these days I'll get a Wednesday off and be able to enjoy the whole live. Yep.
Well, we appreciate that you follow up with the replay anyway.
Yes, for sure. All right. So I do want to hear from anyone that's watching. Like, if you think through some positive things that have come into your life via sacrifice, whether it's, related to diet and recipes and food, or, anything else. I would be curious to hear about any of that.
While y'all work on commenting on that question, I did have a question for you, Neely.
Okay.
Last week you discussed for like a blip about how you and Dr. Davis had your live stream where you got to talk all about the SIBO yogurt and all of those things. And a question that I had that I wrote down that I don't remember if I asked you or not. His new product, what was it called? Gut something?
Gut to Glow.
Gut to Glow. Is that product fermentable into a yogurt?
Yes. Okay. So Gut to Glow has the L. reuteri bacteria.
Yes.
Plus some marine collagen, something else that starts with an A.
Akkermansia?
No, it's not a probiotic. It's something else.
Oh, okay.
I think L. reuteri is the only probiotic in that.
Okay. All right.
And so the other things are just other supplements that are good for skin health, because that's what he was focusing the supplement on is skin health. So you can take that and ferment it and get L. reuteri yogurt from it. He said that because of that other ingredient that starts with an A, anathaxin or something like that,
Okay.
the first batch will look a little bit pink because and the capsules have a little bit of color to them. I think maybe it's a polyphenol or one of those like colors in food that are so healthy for us. Anyways, I'm not making any sense. But your first batch, if you use that, will be a little bit pink, but then it goes away in subsequent batches, and it's no problem.
Okay.
You are just getting the benefits from the L-reuteri yogurt because obviously
it's being dispersed throughout, and that's the
right.
only thing
The
that's
collagen
capable of
doesn't
growing.
ferment and grow
I
or
got
anything
you.
like that. So you're not getting a better end product than you would if you got the just MyRooterI supplement. But if you were to just have the Gut to Glow and you didn't want to buy both products, you could use the Gut to Glow to make the L-reuteri yogurt.
I see.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
And I would be, I'll have to go look up and see what the other ingredients were in that, because I mean, it sounds like he's trying to simplify the process. Oh, thank you for affirming my statement. It does seem like his objective is very targeted in that particular product.
Yes.
But it also seems as though he's very mindful of the fact that healthy is not for just the wealthy. And
Yes.
making things from scratch for yourself, while it might feel like a pinch point financially on the upfront costs, to say buy the L-reuteri, what is it? It's the BioGaia that we're not entirely sure if it's like officially like fermentable, but then
or the right strain. Yeah.
Right. His particular MyRooterI, is that what it's called? That might be an upfront cost that's a little bit tough to swallow, but the amount of microbes that you can produce off of one serving of that can go on forever if you take care of it.
Absolutely.
So that's one of those things where it's like, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, and then also to take into consideration, the MyRooterI has 30 capsules in it, and you only need
30 batches.
You only need one to start, and then you save the other 29 until you forget it all, or the BioGaia, you have to use 10 of the tablets because it's a lot less amount of the probiotic in there. I think it's designed for kids, maybe. It is chewable and all of that.
Right.
So I haven't gone and done the math on it, but I can't imagine that the BioGaia ends up being cheaper.
I wouldn't imagine
it's
it
just
either.
The upfront cost because you have to buy 30 of the MyRooterI at a time.
So one of the containers of the BioGaia contains 30 tablets. So that's only 3 starter opportunities that you have, because it is likely that you will forget about it at some point, or you will forget to save like a little bit of your previous batch to inoculate your new batch and all that stuff.
Or you can get something in it that grows that you don't want.
The
word I'm thinking of.
Like a contaminant. Foreign contaminant.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. Go ahead.
That's the other ingredient in the Gut to Glow. Astaxanthin. And I don't know exactly what that is, except that it's good for your skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the MyRooterI, I didn't look that one up. I remember the Gut to Glow one felt kind of pricey.
Yes. Oh, it was definitely pricey.
1 month supply. So that was one of the reasons why I was wondering if it could have been fermented, but it disperses that collagen and that
even Dr. Davis in the live stream, he said you can find astaxanthin supplements. You can take your own collagen, and I forget if there was something else in there or not, and then use this fermented into yogurt, and it would probably end up being cheaper. But he wanted to put together that supplement, which, some people want the ease of just,
Sure.
and that's again where you can have the convenience that costs more money, or
Right.
you can DIY things and put in a little bit more work for less money. And I love that Dr. Davis is on board with that. Like
Yeah.
he's motivated by making this accessible to the most people. And that becomes really clear when you follow his work and you listen to him talk. Like if he was just trying to make money with these supplements, he wouldn't have said, you can go buy your own astaxanthin, whatever it is, and your own collagen. And no, he would say, no, you have to take these supplements every day for the rest of your life in order to maintain good health, and he doesn't say that. And he even says,
disparage it. He
Yeah.
would disparage other companies and their products if he did not care about making it accessible.
And he even, talks about how if you take this and you make the yogurt with it,
right,
you are getting more. It's not like, oh, you can do it a cheaper way, but it's not going to be as good. No, he's like, if you do that this way, that's actually ends up making me less money, you will get more of the probiotic that way. But this is an option for those that want to just, take the supplement as a maintenance dose. He did say in the interview that if you're dealing with SIBO and you're trying to eradicate it, you really want to do the yogurt for a time because you get such a large amount of the probiotic. If you were to just supplement, with one of these, I think it's just, one capsule per day, it would be way less. And so you may not get that SIBO under control. But once you do have it under control, then you can go to that lower of a dose and it's more of a maintenance thing.
Sure. Blaze offers some interesting information here. The Hawaiian astaxanthin offers significant health benefits like natural joint and tendon support, as well as benefits for the skin, eye, and brain health.
Excellent.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel like it was some kind of a polyphenol or something. I still don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's something beneficial.
This is why it was pink,
Sure. Okay.
Anyways,
I want to go back to your question about sacrifices being a benefit or a positive rather than a negative.
Yes.
I don't.
Just real quick. I'll just say this real quick since I found it. Astaxanthin is a red pigment that belongs to a group of chemicals called carotenoids. It occurs in certain algae and causes pink-red color in salmon. Oh, that's interesting. It's an antioxidant.
I do like salmon.
And the effect might protect cells from damage and might also improve the way immune systems function. So there you go.
Very cool.
Today on astaxanthin.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Blaze, spurning that tidbit of knowledge because that is great.
From algae.
Made from algae.
Okay. All right. Enough about that. Back to.
So your question was, where have we sacrificed and it felt like a positive rather than a negative?
Yeah, maybe in the long term. You didn't see it at the beginning.
So one of the biggest positives that I have found for me, because we've not really had anybody respond. Where are y'all? Come on.
I know you've had experiences.
Yeah. So cabbage. I grew up loathing cabbage because it just never tasted good to me. I worked in a barbecue restaurant and we had coleslaw, and people love to have coleslaw on their pork sandwiches. It was called Memphis style at the restaurant I worked at. I'm sure it's called 100 different things. It doesn't matter.
It's called delicious.
I thought it was absolutely vile.
Of course you did.
People were always so like, oh, I want it Memphis. No, you do not. Nope. I would never eat the coleslaw. Going low carb on the shoestring budget meant that I was willing to venture out and buy a head of cabbage for like $2.50
So cheap.
just to see if I could make it delicious or make it work or if I could stomach it, because I do like to eat large volumes of food. And if I could have a large volume of cabbage and feel fuller and tolerate it without flavor feeling like it was gross, then I would count that a win. My huge surprise was the fact that fried cabbage is absolutely one of my favorite foods now. So stupid cheap food, extremely delicious, and it just is such the perfect vehicle for so many other cheap things. So huge sacrifice. I sacrificed my preferences. I sacrificed my desire to have higher costing food so that I could find the win of cabbage.
Yeah.
Jared would like you to know that he is sacrificing as well. He just can't handle it. He can't stand it. If anything is like us, it's okay. It's right here. And he wants to be involved so hard. Okay.
Well,
That's
he needs to get on screen and tell us what he's sacrificed. Oh,
Listen.
Cynthia says same with Brussels sprouts.
Oh, so good. I never would I have ever eaten a Brussels sprout on purpose without being forced if it wasn't for me following this low carb lifestyle.
Yeah.
Never.
Okay, I have one example.
Okay.
When I first did a Whole30 back, like, I don't know, 11 or 12 years ago,
Yeah.
I was putting stevia in my coffee.
Okay.
And I thought I liked it. And then I went on the Whole30 and I thought it was going to be a sacrifice to give up stevia in my coffee. And then through that process, I realized I don't like stevia in coffee at all. And it's so much better without it, in my own personal opinion. And I have not regularly put stevia in my coffee since. And there was a couple times after my Whole30 where I was like, oh, I could put some stevia in my coffee now. And I did it. And I was like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted. And so I, discovered through sacrifice that coffee without stevia, just coffee with cream, is superior to all other coffee choices.
I'm going to have to wholeheartedly back that one personally. I too was addicted to like the creamers in coffee, like the sweet creamers from Coffee Mate or International Delight. I was obsessed with those. So I thought it was a value add to buy the larger containers for the bulk pricing and consuming all of that. I didn't know what I was going to do when I went low carb because I didn't understand how to make coffee creamy without one of those, prepackaged creamers. And so I needed it sweet and I needed it creamy. And then eventually it was like, wait a minute, heavy cream is so much better. And I did the stevia thing for a long time. And then I was like, what if I didn't do the stevia? What does that taste like? And I was like, that is an improvement. Such an improvement. And then it got to the point where Jared was like, he challenged me one time. What if you just didn't have cream in your coffee? Challenge accepted, sir. Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's one sacrifice that did not work out for me.
And I understand. It's not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. Black coffee is not for everybody. It is absolutely for me. And now, guess what? I save money by not spending as much on heavy cream.
Yep,
it is now applied differently.
Yep. So thinking about sacrifices that ended up giving positively in the future, the biggest one that I could think of is having children. Talk about sacrifice.
All the sacrifice.
If we were just trying to avoid sacrifice and keeping everything convenient and easy, we would not be having children. Let me tell you what. But a lot of us will say that having children was one of the biggest
Blessings.
life-changing positive experiences of our lives, and it would not have been that way if it were not for the sacrifice involved.
Oh, absolutely. I am so much of a better human because of the fact that I see all of my undesirable traits come out whenever I am trying to raise another human.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
and it's not fun.
that needs a little work. That's a pain point right there. It struck a nerve. We're gonna have to figure that one out.
Yeah. So, anyways, just another thing, like encouragement to think about these things that we on the surface see as negatives. And I acknowledge a lot of times they are negative. Like when you have a pay cut, or you end up having to put new tires on the car because of whatever, it's just like, yes,
Safety.
negative,
Because of safety.
sad,
Safety's not
bummer. But there is always opportunity for something positive, and something positive that wouldn't be possible if not for the negative that you're dealing with. So it's just another way to reframe things and have an open mind, looking for the positive rather than focusing on the negative. I think that would be helpful in all circumstances for our own you know self,
Yeah.
just and ultimately for our health, and then of course for everyone around us. So that is my encouragement. I felt bad after last week just being like such such a downer.
You're such a negative Neely.
I know. And so
I will lighten up Lindsey. Alliteration, folks. That's what you get from two homeschool moms.
Coffee chat with negative Neely and lighten up Lindsey.
Coming to you live every Wednesday.
Oh Lord. Okay. Low carb Spin says, I used to hate avocado.
I love avocados. I can't eat them, so I sacrifice not eating them because pain.
Yeah. You get the positive in the end by not having pain.
And so does everyone around me. They don't have to moan and complain about just how badly I feel. And
yeah.
have an avocado for me.
Yeah, seriously. So sauerkraut, that was when I was talking earlier about having to preserve food.
Yes.
And that sometimes it can take the nutrition down a notch, like when you can or whatever. There are instances where it actually increases certain nutrients. And that's another thing where if
now it doesn't. Okay, there it goes.
if we had fresh cabbage available all year long throughout history, maybe no one would ever have figured out that A, you can make delicious sauerkraut because it is a preservation method, and then B, that it actually unlocks certain nutrients that we otherwise wouldn't get from fresh cabbage. So that's another great example of positive coming from a challenge.
Low carb spins coming in with those positive spins.
Yes, and then Low Carb Spin uses sauerkraut juice in the sourdough, the faux sourdough egg white bread, and that gives it that nice sour taste, which so fun.
That's so desirable. Pickles. I never liked pickles before. Pickles are one of those like gut-friendly foods that are pretty darn cheap if you are, savvy, and also they taste amazing.
Yeah, it is funny now how there's all these artisan pickle brands, and we're near Portland, so I'm sure we have more than the normal people. At the farmers market, sometimes there'll be like a tent with homemade artisan pickles, and they're like $15 a jar. You're like,
it takes literally no effort to create pickles. What are you doing?
But it's another one of those things where it's like the soul food fancy restaurant where it's like, wait a minute.
Soul condiments.
But they do earn it because there are some really fun and unique pickles. And
sure.
Anyways, let's see. Your husband's challenge to let the black coffee, no sugar, no cream. So it was his idea.
Yeah,
he has some good ideas sometimes.
So I don't know how many of y'all know like my backstory, but January of 2016, 9 years ago, I stumbled across Trim Healthy Mama, told my husband, I want to try this out. He said, the challenge is we don't have money for you to go off and start something new and then get bored with it once you have a book. And so it's like that cuts me deep because it's true. So he challenged me to figure it out for myself. So if it was not for him challenging me, I don't know where I would be today. And a lot of the things that I have done have been more or less to because of challenges he has posed to me. And I do have kind of a desire to be against things.
So he knows how to get you to do something. Be like, I bet you can't do it. That's how I deal with Levi.
And it's just, well, some of us are still just, 6-year-old boys. Okay.
Yeah. I try to get him to exercise. So I'm like, I bet you can't run very fast. He's like, I'll show you.
Oh yeah. And I don't know if that's just like my personality or it was raised up in me or how it was all managed, but tell me I can't do something and I'll say, yeah, right. Hold my salty. I'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Low Carb Spin says coffee was definitely the hardest to fix after dropping the coffee creamers. Yeah, but at least on keto and, like a dairy full keto, we have heavy cream. Like that's like the race.
And even like some of those MCT oil powders, they can definitely create some delightful creamer options for dairy free.
Yeah, because she says she doesn't do much dairy. So you can have the cheese for her. She'll have the avocado for you.
Deal.
That works out.
That feels fair.
Purple Loving Nona says, I sacrificed a lot raising my son alone so he could have experiences growing up that made him who he is today. That's amazing. Awesome. Yeah. And so, sometimes maybe we don't experience the positive directly, like for us, but it is for us when we get to watch our kids experience,
the legacy of that is amazing.
Yeah. All of us moms, I think, would say, yeah, I'll give up anything if it gives to my child what is good for them. So for
Absolutely.
Sure. I love this. Never thought I could give up bread and sugar. No more joint pain. Talk about a positive coming from a sacrifice.
Huge positive.
Yeah. Giving up carbs for health and weight loss. Yep.
Fantastic.
Definitely a sacrifice. I mean, I don't know of a lot of people that have gone from a standard American diet to a low carb diet and not felt like it was somewhat of a sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
It is nice that we get to have things like ribeye steak and bacon and cheese and heavy cream. But when you're used to eating cereal for breakfast and donuts and cake and, all of those things, it's a sacrifice. It is. But,
my sacrifice.
A lot of us can attest that giving up those things has provided benefit.
Indeed.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Glittered pickles.
What are they glittered with?
So I've seen some like maple syrup, glittered maple syrup, and it's like edible glitter like you would see on cake decorating and stuff. And it's like,
I don't know, how does that work on the digestive end? Just because it is edible doesn't mean that we should eat it.
Exactly. Yeah. I've seen a few things like that and I'm just like, you know what? I'm okay with not.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Julie says, sacrifice giving up grains and sugar, but it improved my gut issues almost 100%.
Gut health is always a positive.
Yes. All marriages are different. Different state of married life. My husband knows not to ever challenge me. That's amazing. It's, and that's the trick with marriage, is to really know your spouse and understand the good and the bad ways to spur them on.
Yeah. I mean, we're almost 19 years in at this point, and so far the challenge is the best way to get me to modify my behavior.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
But I can't challenge me. I can't challenge me. It has to come from him, and he has to like really make sure I believe that I can't do it. And then I'm like, yeah, right.
That's hilarious. Who knew when I told friends I use heavy whipping cream for coffee, they called me highbrow. Okay. All right. Well, we'll all be over here sipping our fancy
With our highbrow coffee.
All right. Well, we are well over an hour now, so we should probably hop off here. We'll be back next week. We're still in January. It's only January 8th, and we're already 2 weeks in to our January focus.
That's right.
We're going to have to think about what
have
else.
5 total weeks.
That's crazy.
Dear.
Uh-oh.
Did it just kick me out?
Oh, I still see you.
Oh, okay. That was weird.
Uh-oh.
Like, okay, well, I can't see the chat anymore, so I'm going to trust you with it. We have 3 more Wednesdays left in the month of January, so we can still keep going on about this, talking about how we can make healthy affordable in all manners of ways.
Yeah, we can get into some more specifics, like talk about different recipes that are very frugal and all of the cabbage recipes and things like that.
I love cabbage. Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back next week, same time, same place. Have a good day, everybody.